Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pressing Matters brought to you by On the Mic, Pakistan's number one football show. And I have here with me one of Pakistan's top coaches, top football coaches, not just in Karachi, but in all of Pakistan. Kareem Kerai, I mean, UEFA B license, former head coach at Karachi United. But these things really don't matter because it's what you do on the pitch. जो आप pitch पे करते हैं, what the time and effort and the skill that you put in, that's the most important thing. Credentials तो I think आने जाने वाली चीज़ है. How are you doing, KK?
I'm good, Ismail. Thanks for a very kind introduction. I'm a huge fan of, so it's an honor to be on the show today.
No, it's my honor. For people who don't know, KK is one of two people who have actually, I would say, yes, for sure, have helped the most in terms of my football development. जिस तरह मैं गेम को देखता हूँ, सोचता हूँ, and everything. And yeah, I'm really indebted to everything that he has helped me with. So KK, अभी लोगों को लगेगा कि हम आपस में अपनी दोस्ती बस आगे पीछे कर रहे हैं, but I'm gonna sort of just put you on the spot in the first like 2 minutes of the episode. You have started a new football academy. For people who don't know, KK की नई academy है football की in Karachi. करीम कराई academy है उसका नाम. हम सारे links जो हैं वो description में डाल देंगे. Everything that you need to know that will be in the description. All the information. But ये कि मैं deep end में आपको डाल रहा हूँ. आपकी academy के बारे में what is different? बच्चों को क्यों आपकी academy join करनी चाहिए?
So I don't really think I can comment on what's different. I can kind of tell you what it is. And the vision of the academy is to provide the best practices for players and children to develop to the best that they're capable of becoming. So that's my one sole focus. And the second one is to make sure the academy is transformative for a player in terms of their character development, their personality, um, the mental side of the game, which can help them in all areas of life as they continue with their life beyond football and in the classroom and in life in general. So providing the best practices and ensuring that I create, in the words of Jurgen Klopp, mentality monsters, mentally strong players and athletes that can take on life and live to the fullest. So that's my goal. That's what I try to do. And yeah, that's the academy in a nutshell.
तो बिफोर भी हम उसकी बात करेंगे डिटेल्स क्या एज ग्रुप्स लोकेशन टाइमिंग्स एंड एवरीथिंग वो एक ऑब्वियसली हम चीज़ वी कैन गो थ्रू दैट सो दैट पीपल नो बट ये जो आपने बात की है इसी से ही ऑलरेडी आई थिंक डिफ्रेंशिएट हो जाती है और अकेडमी टू लॉट ऑफ प्लेसेस इन पाकिस्तान राइट बिकॉज they may all say that they're there to develop players, but best practices use नहीं हो रही, and we'll get into why that is the case और किस तरह best practices नहीं हो रही and what the problems are. But I think ये एक differentiating factor, don't you think, है in which the mindset, the meta strategy that you have?
Sure. The reason why I can't get into too much detail about that is because, to be fair and to be honest, I don't exactly know what all other academies entail, what the program design is, what sort of coaching they are providing for the children. So I don't think it's fair for me to comment on that exactly. But, I do, I do feel that I'm giving players the right environment, the best environment that they can grow, learn, and develop. And I am always learning. I'm a work in progress myself. I have been coaching for the last 10 plus years, but every day is a learning curve. Every day is a way to kind of ensure that any player that's coming is getting the maximum out of every session and learning as much as they can so that they can go as far as possible. And I don't want to keep any ceiling on this in particular. Sometimes people ask me that is the goal, professional, Manchester United, Liverpool, or I don't think we should keep a cap, right? I always tell every player that squeeze everything you can out of your life and out of your football development, and then see where you end up. take it day by day, improve 1% every day, and dedicate yourself to the game and see how far you go. And why should we put a ceiling? We may end up at Liverpool FC, we may not end up at Liverpool FC, but the main thing is that at the end of your life, you look back and you say, you know what, I tried and I have no regrets. And I think that is more important than getting to Liverpool FC or getting to, any other club in the world.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what I want the kid to take away from this experience as a whole.
Yeah, I got it. So in a nutshell, अगर इसको describe किया जाए तो it's not just कि it's a कि आप हमारे पास आओ हम आपको प्रोफेशनल प्लेयर बना देंगे. It's कि आप आओ and our aim is कि we're not only by the time you leave or whatever that is, will not only with time, not only will you become a better footballer, but you will also become a better like you'll have a better character through the way that you view sport and dedication and discipline, और जो सारी चीज़ें आ जाती हैं within these practices and football and sports as well. I think that's very very good. दूसरा जो सवाल है for people who might be curious, why do this? Why ये इतना ज़्यादा टाइम क्यों लगाना है अंडर 12 पे, अंडर 14 पे? प्रो टीम में थे आप किसी प्रो टीम में जा सकते हो या whatever the case may be. Youth coaching क्यों? Why youth coaching?
Ismail, in the last 5 years, I coached, as you said, the first team level, the pro team of Karachi United. I coached the academy. I coached, senior players all across the board, the whole spectrum. And what I find that I'm most passionate about and that drives me is to see a young player grow, excel, get better, and fulfill his potential. I think anybody that's worked with younger children know that they're like sponges, right? How they can pick up information, how they can understand concepts, how you can mold their personality and character. I think that has to happen at the younger ages. And in terms of Pakistan football development, we must focus on the grassroots and the youth development side if we want the country to get anywhere in terms of football.
Yeah, I'll come to that.
So,
I'll come to that because I want to discuss that in detail.
Yeah. But just to add to this point, Ismail, is that I feel like also there isn't enough work done in terms of an excellence and a professional youth setup for children. And I feel there needs, this probably ties into your next question, but yeah, my passion, my driver is work. And I think that, Ismail, there are very few people that probably will take a session with the under 8s as seriously as you're taking with, a session for Manchester City's first team. And that's how I am. I take every session as it's my last session. I put my heart and soul. 1 child, 10 children, it doesn't matter to me. I want that kid to fly. I want him to learn. I want him to excel. And I want to see what's possible, right? So can we as Pakistan take an 8-year-old? Can we give them the best practices? And can they become as good as the Mesut Ozils and the Coutinhos? And I don't have an answer, but I believe that it is possible.
I think it is possible. और मैं लोगों को ये बताना चाहूँगा for people who don't know, listen to this story. And then I'll story के end में like पूरा वो है climax, but I'm just gonna imagine a country जो football में कहीं भी नहीं है. It's 200 ranked or some place, ठीक है. आज तक कोई भी उनका प्लेयर बाहर नहीं गया, कुछ भी नहीं हुआ. And then and in that country एक छोटी सी टीम जो है बनाई जाती है 15 बच्चों की of 11-12 year olds, and they go to this country abroad और वहाँ पे वो compete करने जाते हैं in a championship, right? और उधर से बाकी पूरी दुनिया के जो हैं वो clubs आए होते हैं, European clubs included, उनकी youth academies आई होती हैं. और इस मुल्क, ये जो 200 रैंक मुल्क था, इसके जो 15 बच्चे सेलेक्ट हुए थे एक सिटी से एक्चुअली, वो जाके उन यूरोपियन क्लब्स की यूथ अकेडमीज़ को बीट करते हैं कंसिस्टेंटली एंड प्रॉपर एम्फेटिक तरीके से, एक डोमिनेशन के थ्रू जो है उनको बीट करते हैं. एंड नाउ द अमेजिंग थिंग इज़ कि दिस इज़ नॉट जस्ट अ फिक्शनल स्टोरी, मैं कुछ बना नहीं रहा अपनी तरफ से, ये हुआ हुआ है. दिस हैपेंड इन कराची यूनाइटेड जब करीम and Hamdan, the other coach who's now still working at Karachi United, ये लोग कतर गए थे Aspire Try Series with Fenerbahce and a whole host of other clubs, European youth उनकी academies आई हुई थी, and पाकिस्तान के जो ये under 12, under 13, ये जो young age आपका ब्रैकेट था, ये जाके जीते थे उनसे, दे वन मल्टीपल टाइम्स. एंड दैट जस्ट गोज टू शो यू कि आई थिंक टू योर पॉइंट कि अगर आप 8 साल बच्चे पे 10 साल बच्चे पे काम करो, अगर आप उसको सही इन्वायरमेंट में डालो, जब आप उनकी डिसीजन मेकिंग एबिलिटीज़ लेकर आओ, जब उनके अंदर आप एक ना कोहीसिव फुटबॉल इन्वायरमेंट लेकर आओ वेयर देयर एक्सेलेंस क्रिएट हो रही है, तो यार वाई नॉट. आई मीन मैं लोगों को ये कहता हूँ कि यार 220 मिलियन पीपल, राइट, आई मीन देयर इज नथिंग राइट, देयर इज पूरी दुनिया के अंदर, राइट, ऑब्वियसली कुछ लाइक फुटबॉल स्पेशली इस तरह की चीज़ें. सो दिस इज एन इंटरेस्टिंग केस स्टडी के ऑल दीज, थोड़ा ऑफ ट्रैक है बट आई थिंक you'll फाइंड दिस इंटरेस्टिंग कि ओलंपिक ये जो मैराथन रनर्स होते हैं, दे ऑल कम फ्रॉम दिस स्मॉलेस्ट, दिस ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द चैम्पियंस कम फ्रॉम बहुत ही छोटा सा एक रेडियस है दुनिया में, उसके अंदर से आते हैं. अफ्रीका में एक जगह है, एंड दे सॉर्ट ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेटेड कि क्या है, तो उसके अंदर ऑब्वियसली कल्चरल फैक्टर्स वगैरह थे कि दे हैड टू, और बायोलॉजिकल एंड एवरीथिंग. बट फुटबॉल एक ऐसी चीज़ है इन विच यू नीड डिसीजन मेकिंग. कोई प्लेयर फिजिकली बेहतर होगा, कोई प्लेयर नहीं होगा, ठीक है यार, फलानी कंट्री के प्लेयर शायद तगड़े ज़्यादा हों, बट फुटबॉल में देयर आर सो मेनी वेज टू लाइक एक्सरसाइज एडवांटेज कि पाकिस्तान मतलब कि किसी भी कंट्री के अंदर इनहेरेंट कोई पॉपुलेशन में एडवांटेज या डिसएडवांटेज नहीं है. तो माई ओवरऑल पॉइंट इज कि यार 22 करोड़ बंदा है, अगर क्रोएशिया फाइनल तक पहुंच सकता है, अगर आइसलैंड वर्ल्ड कप या यूरोस के अंदर जा सकता है, तो भाई जस्ट द लॉ ऑफ लार्ज नंबर्स पाकिस्तान प्रोड्यूस आराम से कर सकता है, प्लेयर पे प्लेयर कर सकता है. देयर इज़ नो रीज़न वाई इट कांट. द ओनली रीज़न वाई इट डजेंट इज़ बिकॉज एक्सेलेंस वगैरह नहीं होती. एंड आई थिंक दिस लीड्स मी टू द क्वेश्चन कि पाकिस्तान क्यों सक्सीड नहीं करता, वो तो हमने थोड़ा बहुत आंसर कर दिया, बट क्या पाकिस्तान को क्या करना चाहिए टू सॉर्ट ऑफ गेट टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल? अब ऑब्वियसली अभी तो नहीं हो सकता, बट विद इन द नेक्स्ट 25-30 years even.
So I think there's a combination of things that need to happen for that to take place, and I do think that we cannot single out one particular area. So there is coaching level that's required all levels, not just the senior level, but as we've just discussed, the grassroots level, starting from the age of 7, 8 onwards, right? So that's one. I think the second, competition structure for these age groups as well, right? So if you have an under 10 league, you have an under 12 league, 14 league, etc. Having that complete pyramid of competition will help. It'll keep a player motivated. We all know what happens in the situation of competition, right? Your desire, your motivation goes through the roof, and it also helps you to deal with pressure, deal with match situations, all of that. So competition structure, I would say, is the second area. And to add to that, I think, which is a very, very critical component, the aspect of having the right space as well for children to play, learn, and develop. And the
Space
reason
है
why,
मतलब?
what I mean by space is, by space, Ismail, I mean the right surfaces for them to play on. Now, in Karachi, I can talk that, Liari is known as the hotbed of football. There are a lot of players that love to play football who are from there, but there are no grassy grounds, no grounds with sand. So what happens then, Ismail, is that because of that, the way the ball is being played across the surface is at a lot slower pace, right? Because as the ball is traveling, there's a stone, there's a rock, the donkey's poo poo is there, and it's diverted direction. So the gameplay has reduced. Now, when the gameplay reduces, this because now everyone has a lot of time to receive the ball and play the next pass. Okay. Now, the issue is, Ismail, is that in Pakistan, we exacerbate or we talk too much about the facility. कि यार ये नहीं है, जगह नहीं है, facility nahi. I'm just talking about a basic level of grassroots. That's all I'm talking about, right? And I think there's been a lot of work done, with CEPA having their AstroTurf pitch in Leari. There's another one coming up in the ground in Leari. Indeed, there are a lot of grass grounds, a lot. So please don't get me wrong. There are spaces, but we have to make sure that on these grounds we have good training centers for youth children where they are developing in the right way. But going back to my quote, not my quote, but something that I've said in the past, is that you could have all the Wembley stadiums in the world in Pakistan, but if you don't have the coaches, then what's the point? Right? It's like
Exactly.
having
Yeah.
ghost schools. I heard about that term in Pakistan. So you have the campus, you have the infrastructure, but there's no teachers. It's the same thing with football. And if you have the coaches and you have the facility, but you don't have a competition structure to kind of back that up and organize the pyramid going from under 8 to the senior level, then that's also going to hinder your chances to develop top level talent. These three areas are very critical.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can add to that something that I
या नो
probably
नो नो आई
missed
थिंक
out.
दैट्स वेरी वेल पुट. वो एक ट्रायंगल है, बहुत ज़रूरी है, तीनों चीज़ें एक साथ सिनर्जी में होनी चाहिए. बट आई वांट टू टच अपॉन, अभी यू ऑब्वियसली आपने बात की अबाउट फैसिलिटीज़ एंड व्हाई दैट्स इम्पोर्टेंट. उसके बाद कंपटीशन का तो आई एम श्योर यू ऑल्सो गॉन थ्रू दैट. हमें पता है कि कितना ज़रूरी है और हमारे यहाँ नहीं है बिल्कुल भी. सो दैट नीड्स टू बी डन. बट व्हाट आई वांट टू स्पेसिफिकली टॉक अबाउट इज़ कि आपने कहा कोचेस अगर नहीं होंगे, राइट? सो आई वांट टू नाउ कम टू योर कोचिंग फिलोसफी. Or and broadly, apart from just your coaching philosophy, I also want you to talk about के what are the important things. क्या ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो कि ये अंडर 12s या अंडर 10s और इन चीज़ों की, अगर आप एक कोचिंग सेटअप बना रहे हैं, एनवायरनमेंट दे रहे हैं, व्हाट आर एब्सोल्यूट की प्रिंसिपल्स या कोचिंग, what would you call them? I think coaching principles ही आप कहोगे जो होने चाहिए इसके अंदर to develop players properly.
So that's a great question, Ismail. But before talking about any principles, I would say that the first thing that I look for in my own coaching or any other coach is energy and enthusiasm. So if the coach does not have a passion for the game, does not have energy, enthusiasm, he's not bouncing into the session, he's not pushing them to excel, he's not encouraging them, then that's the first red flag, right? So we have to have that energy, passion, enthusiasm. The second thing, then coming to the technical side of things, is that knowledge of the game is critical, right? So going from the very basic level of how to pass the ball, right? So we need to first understand how a player has to approach the ball, the technical
Yeah,
detail of
sorry
that.
KK, I just like
Where
to
does he
add,
strike the
I'd
ball?
just like
Yeah,
to add because I
yeah,
think इसमें बहुत ज़रूरी है कि because this is adding to your previous point कि अंडर 8s और अंडर 10s पे लोग इतना गौर नहीं करते, बट कोचेस जो है वो ज़्यादा ग्लैमरस साइड पर था. आई जस्ट वांट टू टेल एवरीवन, क्योंकि आई थिंक दिस इज़ नोन बिटवीन अस एंड वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट दिस बिफोर, कि असल कोच का जो ब्रेड, द वे अ कोच एक्चुअली डेवलप्स, कोच की खुद भी तो डेवलपमेंट होती है ना, वो यूथ लेवल पे होती है. बिकॉज यूथ लेवल पे आपको इतनी डिटेल में जाना होता है माइक्रो चीज़ों पे कि एंकल लॉक है नहीं है, सीधा पास कर रहे हो, बॉडी पोजिशन आपकी किस तरह है. बिकॉज असूलन आप ये सीनियर बाय द टाइम अच्छी एक सेटअप के अंदर प्रो प्लेयर्स जब आते हैं उनको ये चीज़ें मोर और लेस पता होती हैं, जस्ट ट्वीक इट अ लिटिल अगर कोई प्लेयर के मसले हैं. बट आप ये बचपन से डेवलप करें, सो यू नीड टू नो दिस थिंग्स. अगर आपको ही नहीं पता आप क्या करोगे? सो दैट्स व्हाई इट्स सो इम्पॉर्टेंट कि आप यूथ लेवल पे कोच करो प्रॉपरली विद एंथुसियाज्म, बिकॉज आपके लिए भी सीखने की एक चीज़ है.
yeah, absolutely. And I think to sum up, what you're talking about is knowledge of the game with a lot of detail, right? So, how you said, can we break it up into small little details? What is the body orientation? Where are we striking the ball from? How are we losing the marker? And a coach has to be so passionate and driven about the game and have that knowledge of the game to break up and explain all these little details that help us do the big picture, help us execute the action. So I think those are the main two areas, and within every topic that we are working on, there are many details, and we could be here all
Yeah.
all month if we sit and talk about
Yeah,
everything.
definitely.
But um, yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. And I think to add to that, there's a third element. So we talked about the coach's enthusiasm, energy, his personality, the technical detail, the knowledge of the game. And then the third aspect is the ability to care and empathize with every player. And I think that's a huge, huge part of being a good teacher in any field. And I think for me, not to beat my own drum or anything like that, but I think for me, I care about every child that I coach like they're my little brother or my little sister. Like I give them 210% of care and empathy and genuine care. How are they doing at home? How are they feeling that day? If they do make a mistake, how are we giving the feedback? Are we cognizant of how it can hurt his confidence? Are we careful with our words? Are we saying the right words at the right time? It's our job to build that player up, not put that player down. And I think you can only really do that if you genuinely care for them.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely. I
that
100%
matters.
agree. Just following on from this, जो drills होती हैं, you said कि the best drills, the best exercises. What are the meta sort of broad picture, big picture जो characteristics होने चाहिए अच्छी drills के for these under 12s, under 10s? वो क्या broad based जो हैं वो चीज़ें हैं which I think
Okay.
जो consistent होनी चाहिए across all these. So one for example, I just for people because you'll obviously know this कि अंडर 12 को वो कहते मतलब इस तरह के बच्चों को कहते हैं कि आप स्मॉल साइडेड गेम्स कराएं क्योंकि स्मॉल साइडेड गेम्स में क्या होता है छोटी स्पेस में बच्चों दे आर फोर्स टू डिसीजंस लेते हैं सोल्यूशंस निकालते हैं बिकॉज फिर उनके पास ये सोल्यूशन नहीं होता कि यार बस मार दो उड़ा के बॉल फेंक दो बिकॉज देर कहाँ फेंकेंगे बॉल बाहर चली जाएगी सो दैट्स जस्ट वन एग्जाम्पल
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's a great example, Ismail. And these are sometimes overseen, and they're not. People underestimate the value of this, right? So, like you said, I'll share some themes that I feel are very important in every session. So, you want to be able to allow every player to get maximum touches on the ball. By maximum, I mean try to get every player to make 1,000 touches every session. You know, so that's my goal. I don't want players to be standing idle or standing in lines or waiting for their turn. That's not football. That's not fun. That's boring, right? So many actions with the ball. That's number one. Number two is we want to have a decision making element in all the drills and all the exercises. So that can be added in creative ways as well. Even if you're trying to teach them something simple as passing the ball back and forth, you can have colors, right, that the coach is holding, and they have to call out the color before receiving the ball, right? And if it's a red cone, then they have to control the ball with the right foot. If it's a yellow cone, then they have to control the ball with the left foot. Just a simple
yeah
example. And what are we doing? We're facilitating decision making and we're facilitating scanning of the pitch. We don't want to just be focused on the ball, we want to be focused at the whole field. And
बिकॉज वो
I really
पास जब
believe
आता
in
है देन
this.
वो एक ऑटोमेटिक वो है ना कि you're looking up to see the color so that वो that's exactly it because इसी मैं
Exactly.
exactly यही point I would अब मैं ऐड करने लगा था इसके ऊपर because it's a beautiful example इसके the top coaches वो ये अब ये करते हैं I think कि and obviously you're doing this yourself कि जो आपने बिहेवियर सिखाना है या जो आपने चीज़ करवानी है प्लेयर्स को यू डोंट जस्ट टेल देम कि यार तुमने अब स्कैन करना है आप ड्रिल इस तरह की बनाते हो कि दे आर फोर्स टू डू दैट थिंग ऑटोमेटिकली सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई जस्ट गिव एन अदर एग्जाम्पल कि अगर आपने फॉर एग्जाम्पल किसी प्लेयर्स को सिखाना है ऑब्वियसली इतने छोटे लेवल पे तो शायद आप ना करो बट थोड़ा आगे जाके कि यार अब हमने बॉल जीत ली है नाउ आई वांट यू टू क्विकली प्ले इट फॉरवर्ड राइट सो वॉट यू डू इज़ कि आप इस तरह की ड्रिल बनाते हो कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप मे बी गोल लगा दोगे दो छोटे छोटे दोनों साइडों पे कि जब वो बॉल जीतें उनका ऑटोमेटिकली क्या इंस्टिंक्ट है कि यार मैं गोल में छोटे गोल में जो है बॉल मारूं विच इज़ बिहेवियर एक उनका बन रहा है कि यार आप आगे की तरफ सो यूर एक्चुअली वो क्रिएट कर रहे हो आप चीज़ बार बार कि वो पास कर रहे हैं आगे
Yeah, you have to create the environment. You have to talk less, give less lectures, let them play more, create an environment for them to learn these concepts. Just to add to this, Ismail, I would say that one versus one actions are also very important in every session. So we create 1v1 scenarios every session. What I mean by that is one attacker, one defender going at each other, being able to beat the defender, protect the ball, shield the ball, that's critical. And another aspect is that we have to make sure that the session is fun. And I think this is also very underrated, because sometimes when you think of training, we think of hard army training, discipline, respect,
ये भी नहीं होता। मैं क्योंकि बचपन में
don't
खेलता होता
take
था,
me
नाइदर ऑफ वो भी नहीं होता था। वो होता था कि यार ये लो पास
yeah,
करो एक दूसरे को आगे
yeah,
पीछे। अब यार ठीक है, अब
yeah,
कितनी देर पास करते हैं
yeah.
आगे पीछे बस।
So I think the difference between higher standards and seriousness has to be talked about as well. So you can have, so what I'm trying to get at is that you want to make it fun, but you want to make sure they're high standards. So they can have a great time, but you have to make sure that they're giving 100%, that every pass has been given with the right intention, they're pushing themselves. Those are high standards. But it's fun because I've created an environment that's fun. And how do you make it fun? So how do you make it fun? You make it fun by introducing a lots of goals, lots of opportunities to score goals. Why did we all fall in love with the game? Let's be honest, guys. Me and Ismail love this game and love Michael Owen because he was, amazing at scoring goals. And when you're a kid, you love scoring a goal, man. So why not create an environment where they're scoring goals? Now, by that, I don't mean that you stand there, you lay the ball off and shoot the whole practice. People are shooting. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you work on your drill and your exercise, but you incorporate an element of scoring. Small example, you're working on a possession game. Okay, so you've got 3 players in one team, 3 players in the other team, and one jack player. So after 4 passes, the team that has the ball has to now exit that square and try to shoot at goal, with a recovering defender, if you can add that in. So there is possession practice, there is passing, receiving, but now there's an element of scoring as well, right? And that makes it fun, it makes it fun.
या
So
एब्सोल्युटली
there you
यार,
go.
या और इसके अंदर
That's
फन
it.
वाली
Yeah.
चीज़ से मुझे एक चीज़ जस्ट फॉर पीपल जो फुटबॉल को फॉलो करते हैं प्रॉपरली, हाँ क्लब ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा यूट्यूब पे निकालते हैं इनसाइड ट्रेनिंग की वीडियोस। जस्ट लुक एट लिवरपूल्स इनसाइड ट्रेनिंग, दैट इज़ द परफेक्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ फन बट हाई इंटेंसिटी। आप सबको पता है यर्गन क्लॉप जो है वो हाई इंटेंसिटी इज लाइक इट्स हिज मिडिल नेम, राइट? बट उनकी ट्रेनिंग इतनी फन होती है, वो दे आर हैविंग फन एट द राइट टाइम, दे आर हैविंग फन, बट देर ऑल्सो they don't let themselves slack off। इर्द गिर्द वाले प्लेयर्स भी slack off नहीं करते, so that's very important। दूसरी जो चीज़ थी कि just to sum up your point about the goals, I think वही बात आ जाती कि if I have to sum it up, तो the drill should be game realistic मतलब कि
Yeah.
exactly उसके अंदर 2 टीमें होनी चाहिए, एज एन ऑब्वियसली अनअपोज प्रैक्टिसेस की भी जगह होती है, बट मोस्ट बड़ी जो आप प्रॉपर फाइनल ड्रिल्स करते हो बड़ी यूनिट्स वाली, उसके अंदर आपकी 2 टीमें होनी चाहिए, उसके बाद आपके गोल्स होने चाहिए, एंड दोज आर द, और चारों फेजेस जो हैं ऑब्वियसली इकट्ठे, इट शुड बी एन ओपन गेम, इट शुडंट बी लाइक अमेरिकन फुटबॉल की तरह कि एक साइड बस डिफेंड करी एक साइड अटैक करी। सो आई थिंक दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट यू वर टॉकिंग अबाउट एज वेल। सो या एब्सोल्युटली।
And
Yeah, you want to say
and
something?
Ismail, I'll just say a few things to add to this is that the details of how you set up your session matters so much, right? So we talk about making sure there are a lot of actions and the player is almost always stimulated. How to make sure that happens? You got to have balls with you, right? You got to have balls at your feet as a coach and be able to fire them in whenever they go out of play, right? You got to make sure the water bottles aren't 200 miles away, they're right close to the session. So intensity is something that is probably just part of my personality. I'm quite intense when it comes to coaching and football, and I've been like that as a player as well. So when I was in my university team, I think one of the core reasons why they took me into the team was because of my intensity.
I mean, you're
So my
selling yourself a
intensity
bit
would help
short there.
raise. No, but it's just I think that I would raise the level because of how intense I was. They know that I don't have a second, third gear. I only have a fifth gear. Sometimes that's players have to tell me, "Okay, slow down." But I think intensity is something that I really value. And to sum up, Ismail, don't want to take too much time, but you want to develop intrinsic motivation in every player, intrinsic motivation. So the player is coming to you. Now, he doesn't know maybe why he's coming. Maybe he's coming because his mother sent him. Maybe he's coming because his father wants him to join, right? But you will never get the best out of that player until and unless you align the why. Why are you here? So the first day they come, I ask them a simple question: Why have you joined? You know, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. And the essence of why they should be here is because they want to get better. They want to improve, they want to get better. So you cannot force somebody to improve and get better. You've got to ignite that fire within them. So often you'll see me chatting with them and trying to inspire them, motivate them, and trying to connect their why. This is why we're here. If you're here to improve, you got to give it your all. You got to work hard. You got to push yourself. It's going to be tough, but you're doing it because you want to get better. You're not doing it to please me. You're doing it because you want to be the best you can be.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to inculcate in them day in, day out.
KK, closing thoughts. I just want you to put out or tell people the details जो relevant हैं, age groups, location, timings, everything that you wanna, whatever you want to plug and share, जो लोग देख रहे हैं, जो लोग सुन रहे हैं उनके लिए, so that they can find you. We're obviously description में हम डाल देंगे, but just to close off.
My focus is for youth development ages 8 to 17. You can contact me on Instagram. You can contact me on Facebook. I think Ismail said he'll put on the details in the description. The ground is in Clifton, Karachi. And, I have an initial trial the first day for any player that's interested in joining, for them to see if they enjoy the environment and for me to assess if they're suitable for the academy as well. I would say that I believe it's the best place for you to excel as a footballer. In life, you have to back yourself. I back myself. I will do my everything to help you grow, develop, and excel as a person and as a football player. That's my promise to you. Your promise to me should be to show up, give it your all, and it's a team effort.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard from the man, Kareem Kerai, the new hottest football academy in Pakistan. मैं दिल से ये कहता हूँ कि अगर आप यहाँ जाते हैं, अपने बच्चे या भाई बहन किसी को भी भेजते हैं यहाँ पे, तो you will not regret it. This guy is the real deal. He is top notch. KK, thank you so much for coming on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. This has been Pressing Matters. Add on the mic. Do subscribe. Follow the channel. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, take it easy.